Today, my friend, we're going to talk about why is it that no matter how hard you work on something, you are not getting the results that you desire. We're going to talk about those three kinds of people and the outcomes that they get and what you can control in order to influence as much of the outcomes as possible. We're also going to learn what is it that we need to surrender and how can we produce the results that we desire without controlling them. Do you feel that no matter what you do and how much you wait and how patient you are, you do not get the outcomes and the results that you've been working for? You don't get that amount of money that you've been aiming to have in your bank account. You can't find the person that you love so much. You haven't resolved the issues in your relationship, no matter how hard you try to be graceful and kind and understanding and communicative. Or perhaps your health doesn't get better no matter how well you eat and exercise, or you haven't lost the weight that you've been trying to lose all this time while working out and dieting and, starving with the little lettuce and fish that you've been having. Do you feel like sometimes we cannot control outcomes, results? Is that you? Hello, my name is Betsy Guerra, and I have never, ever been able to control my outcomes. Now, here's the thing. There's different kinds of people. Whenever you have an idea, there are people that act on it immediately. They're impulsive. They get it done. They thrive in taking action. They don't mess around. You tell them it's done. That was me. I was always that way. I never had issues with taking action. In fact, my problem was taking action too fast, too soon. And then there's other people who are stuck in thinking energy. They're thinking about it and overthinking about it. And will this work? And will that work? And they process it and everything happens in their minds. And by the time they're done thinking about it, they've already convinced themselves that it's not going to work out. And they thought themselves out of the original idea that they had thought, right? So if that's you, you're the kind of person who typically feels paralyzed or gets stuck thinking about things but never executes, or maybe takes too long to execute and take action. And then there are people, and I hope that this is me nowadays, because God knows I've worked really hard for it. There are people who are a little wiser about the ideas and execution of those ideas because they sit with the idea, they pray about it, they be still. And then if they hear the guidance, God's guidance that, okay, yes, let's push through. And usually the way we hear that is it becomes repetitive. It comes up in different scenarios. And it feels different. It touches you emotionally, it gets you excited or emotional to pursue that. And it doesn't leave you alone. You must do this. I don't know, right? You hear God telling you yes, let's go. It's not an idea that just dies out and was short-lived. It's an idea that is recurring and persevering, and it continues to bother you, let's go, or inspire you emotionally. And then you feel like I must do it. So these people are the kinds of people who be still, who are still with the idea, pray for guidance, wait for guidance, and then execute at the time that they're guided to do so. I hope I've become that one of those people. God knows I've been trying, because I used to be very impulsive. I was stuck in the identity of I'm a doer, I get things done, I don't mess around, I'm a go-getter, and I was very proud of it. So it was reinforced in my life. It just worked out. So I kept on doing it until it didn't work anymore. Because you see, what happens, we think that the bad thing is when you don't act on an idea. But sometimes those people who didn't act on the idea, it just came to them. They just manifested it no problem. It happened on its own. Obviously, sometimes it doesn't happen that way. And then they're stuck for a long time because they're not the kind of people who execute. So that's a problem. But their outcomes vary. Sometimes it comes to them, even though they didn't do anything. With me, I was so quick at taking action that I overwhelmed the heck out of myself because I would commit to so many things. And then I'm the kind of person who likes to finish what she starts. Like I take pride in that. So then I started all these things. I had all these open tabs. And then I felt like I had to close them. I had to complete them because if not, the story I told myself is that I failed or I lost or, like, and I didn't want to be that person. So I would pursue them and complete them at any cost. And when I say at any cost, it really meant at my cost, at the cost of my well-being, at the cost of my sanity. So I overwhelmed the heck out of myself. And I also learned that by going too fast, sometimes I arrived at the destination before the destination was ready for me. And the way I explain it usually is like if I were to run a marathon, but I get to the marathon the day before the race, then I can run the marathon. But when I get to my end, my finish line, there will be no finish line there yet because I got there too soon. The big balloons and the finish line was going to be set the day after, not that day. And that happened to me with a program that I built called Hurt to Hope. Back in the pandemic, I was building that while the pandemic was happening. It was a program to help people who were grieving. And I invested a ton of money, energy, time, effort into this program. It was going to be amazing. And it was amazing for the few people that were able to benefit from it. So I was right in that the value was going to be there. But it was an epic failure in my business because I built it before the world or my prospective clients were ready to receive it. I had to do a little educating first. I was supposed to use their language as opposed to the language I thought they were thinking. Like I kept on talking about rising above loss or overcoming adversity and loss. And people don't talk like that. People say, I feel stuck. I feel stuck in my grief. I haven't been able to move on. I haven't, right? Like they say different language. So then the language that I used wasn't attracting or wasn't landing for the people that I was meant to serve. So I rushed into it and I just built it because I'm a woman of action and I get things done. But because I was so fast, I did not wait for the finish line to be ready. I didn't educate my audience. I didn't build an audience. I had an audience for couples back then. I was a couples whisperer in Miami, not the hope lady that helped people with grief. I had to build that up first. I had to get their language. I had to learn some things about online programs. I had to educate on how group programs are powerful to heal grief, not just one-on-one. I skipped all those parts. I went to the race a day before. And when I arrived at the finish line, people weren't ready or there to receive what I had for them. And that's how taking action too fast and being impulsive can hurt you. Now, if you are the kind of person who gets stuck in thinking energy, then that just drives you crazy. And then nothing gets done. And you would think the outcome for that is that, the outcome. The outcome is going to be no outcome because you didn't do anything. But then some people get lucky or have a very powerful way of manifesting life and they attract it. And then, and then the people who are still and they are guided, you would think like, okay, for sure that person's going to have guaranteed positive, perfect outcomes because they waited, they were guided, they took their time and they still executed in a reasonable amount of time. So yes, those people percentage-wise, tend to experience more positive outcomes, but ultimately, neither of the three groups of people can really, really control outcomes. We can predict them. We can influence outcomes. We can definitely be prepared and execute and contribute to them. But can we control the outcomes? I don't think so. Now, let me explain to you why I believe this is important. We tend to believe that if we do everything right in life, then we'll have a great life. If we raise our children properly, our children will grow up to be decent, kind-hearted, well-established, hardworking individuals in society. And we know it doesn't always work that way. Outcomes, my friend, cannot be controlled. We have power over ourselves. What we do, how we show up, how quickly we act, how much we take to think about it, how much we pray about it, whether we wait for guidance or just act impulsively. We have power over all of those things, but we have no power over outcomes. And hello, my name is Betsy Guerra, and I am the queen of working my butt off for outcomes I never see through. I I have so much resilience because of how many epic failures I've had. I'm not afraid of doing the work, but for some reason, the amount of effort that I put in everything I do in life doesn't always match the results that I get. And I know a whole lot of why that is, and I cannot wait to share it with you today. So today, my friend, we're going to talk about why is it that no matter how hard you work on something, you are not getting the results that you desire. We're going to talk about those three kinds of people and the outcomes that they get and what you can control in order to at least influence as much of the outcomes as possible. We're also going to learn what is it that we need to surrender and how can we proactively and in a still way produce the results that we desire without controlling them. I know that may not make sense yet, but I promise it will make sense by the end of today's episode. So imagine that you are in Hawaii, in Maui, and you're going on a road to Hana. That's like a very long road with a lot of curves, and it takes you hours and hours to do the whole thing. So let's say that your final destination is the black sand beach in Maui. So you're on your road to Hana, and there's like a lot of curves, and there you can control how fast you go, how many stops you make, how many pictures along the way, if you stop to eat, if you keep going, if you stop for the restroom, if you take those curves fast so that you get there faster, but then you're going to be dizzy and sick the whole time because they're crazy. All those curves are crazy. Or if you just go slowly, take your time, right? Like you can control how you go to Hana, like what decisions you make along the way, how fast you go, how slow you go, how many stops. Like what you decide those things. Those things are in your power. If you get stuck in thinking energy, that's your choice. If you're impulsive, that's your choice. How quick you go, how many people you hire along the way, and to support you, what you do on your own. We control those things. Like the process, which really is the most important part of the journey, we have power over. That's why we have incredible power over our lives and we get to be the co-creators, co-producers of life with God. And we've talked about manifesting. If you haven't listened to that episode, go to January and listen to how to manifest the life that God created you to live and how to write it, like how to write it with your own hands, with your own mind, with your own power. So that's very powerful. But can we control when we get to the black sand beach? We can influence it by going faster, doing less stops, like or the opposite, right? Like you can influence it. But what if something happens along the way? What if there's an accident? What if there's a car stuck in the middle of the street? What if you get a flat tire? What if, I don't know. What if one of your kids started throwing up and now you have to stop or turn around? Like you don't know when you're really going to get there. You can plan for it, you can work for it, but do you determine, do you control when and if you get to the black sand beach? You don't. And if that example doesn't resonate, then let me give you a better one. I heard this story. I wish I could give the person credit, but I have no idea where I heard it from. But I heard this analogy of a kid who wanted to be a grown up. He really wanted to be an adult. So he dressed like an adult. He put on his dad's suit. He was only 8 years old. And he put on his dad's suit and he spoke like an adult and he like changed his voice to sound like a grown man. And he would like, put hairs and draw hairs in his face for facial hairs. And then he would shave with his dad's razor. He really wanted to be an adult. He acted like one, dressed up like one, spoke like one. Like he did all the things. Did that speed up his adulthood? Did he become an adult by doing all that work right now? No, he was in the same boat as me. I ran the marathon before the race was ready for me, right? So we can't control the outcomes. We can dress up as something as an adult, or well, in our case, maybe you're around my age. So in our case, we can dress up as elderly people, but that's not going to make us viejitos anytime soon. We have to wait. We get to be still and let the course of life take its own path so that until we get there, right? Like we cannot force outcomes. We have no control over outcomes. We have the power to work towards them, influence them, attract them. We have incredible power, just not over outcomes. And that reminds me of an affirmation that was given to me by my best friend and coach at the time, Caro, who said, Betsy, do the work, surrender the outcome. I do the work, I surrender the outcome. I do the work, I surrender the outcome. I repeated that to myself over and over and over again. And it is how I got through a lot of adversities in my life, especially my work life, like writing the book. This was around the time that I was writing the book. I just couldn't get it done soon enough. I was so ready to be done with that book. And it took me 2.5 years. And it was 2.5 years of sweating and like blood and sweat. It was painful. It was hard. It was time consuming. I still had a job and a family and all the things. So I was also waking up at 4:30 in the morning to write. I was so ready to be done, but the book wasn't done in my heart and in my mind. I needed to live through those 2.5 years so that I could grow. And therefore me as a container of that book could hold the book that God had in store for me. I could not have come up with the ideas that I came up at the end because I wasn't ready. And I guess that leads me to the most important thing that you can do to influence outcomes. It's not to do the direct work. Like, okay, I want to write a book. Let me sit down and write. I want to build a business. Let me open an LLC and let me hire the business coach. And all those things are important. And I would do them too. That's part of taking action. But I think the most important part is to enlarge the container in which you're going to fit something big. And I've talked about this in other podcasts. In the measure that we expand our mindset and we expand our spirituality and we expand our hearts and our capacity to hold the blessings and the graces that God has in store for us, in that capacity, we also create the space to build something big, something great, something in alignment with the person that God willfully and mindfully created you, me, us to be. So, number one, if you want to influence your circumstances, begin by opening up to the possibility of seeing that manifested in your life. Open up to the possibility of being worthy of that. I heard Jamie Kern Lima quote Oprah when she said something, I may butcher this, so I'm sorry if I do, but it was something along the lines of, we don't get what we want, we get what we think we deserve. So I'm going to repeat that because I think it's important. We don't get what we want. You can want whatever you want all the time. We get what we believe we deserve. So building that sense of self-worth, that belief that you are worthy of receiving the thing that you desire is more important than desiring it. You may want it. Yeah, okay, you want it. But in the measure that you build belief, you also act. So I would start with visualizing the thing that you desire. Is it money in the bank? Just visualize your bank being meaty and delicious, like full. And then sit with that vision and that energy and experience deep gratitude for it as if it was already there. Just feel it. Be like, "Oh, thank you so much, Lord. I'm so blessed and abundant and lucky." Like, just visualize it, see it, believe it, build that belief, feel worthy of it. Like, just have the whole experience before, right here, right now. And if you haven't listened to the Be Do Have episode, there was actually a series of them. I think it was 2 or 3 episodes. I really strongly recommend that you do because it explains this process more deeply. Today, I'm going to focus on the outcomes. So when you believe, when you be the kind of person that you want to be, the kind of person who already has manifested what you desire, when you be that first, then that guides you. That is part of that indwelling God inside of you, guiding you. That's the Holy Spirit shining through and inspiring the next steps. So first you visualize, you see yourself, you build belief, you build self-worth, you build confidence, you believe it's already true. You're also building faith in the process. And then once you're in that space, you ask for guidance. You ask God for guidance. And guess where God is? God is not in like a far away place in the sky in heaven. God is indwelling. God is inside of you. All you have to do is take a moment of silence and welcome the Holy Spirit to take over. It's ready for you. Let me tell you, we don't understand how powerful it is that God gave us free will and what a pain in the butt that is too. God gave us free will. He gave us the gift to choose him inclusively. Like he cannot make us choose him. He cannot make us do the right thing. He cannot make us succeed. He gave us that choice. He gave us the choice, the freedom to decide for ourselves. And I say that's the biggest pain in the butt too, because then we're the ones making the decision instead of letting him decide through us. But there's one decision that we can make that will change everything. And that is obedience. Obedience is the only gift God did not give us that we can give to him. Every other gift that we can give back to God, like the gift of service, the gift of love, the gift of I don't know, whatever it is that you give to the world, like your specific gifts, the gift of listening to other people, helping other people, doing other people's hairs, like doing a show because you're a great dancer. Like all those gifts and talents God gave you. You're just giving them back to him. You're glorifying him by using those gifts for service to others. So kudos to you. That's really good, really, really good work. And I think it's necessary. But there's one gift he cannot give us: obedience. He gave us free will. He gave us a choice. He gave us freedom. What we can give him in exchange is obedience. And it's the one thing we get to give him that he didn't give to us first. So when you live a guided life, what you're obeying is the Holy Spirit inside you, the guidance, the inner wisdom that you have access to. So whenever you want to influence the results that you're getting because they're not good enough, not for the amount of effort that you're putting into it, then come back in. Don't be doing things outside of you. Come back in, connect, reconnect with God, and ask him to expand you. Ask him to build you up, to open you up, to make you bigger and greater so that you can hold that outcome, that result, that grace that you wholeheartedly desire. So begin by that. Begin by expanding your capacity to receive a big gift. And if you've heard it in past episodes, I'm sorry I'm repeating it, but for those of you who are new, I want to make sure you hear this analogy. If you are asking God for a car or something the size of a car, like some of the graces and the gifts that we want are big in physical size, and the place that you have to store the car is the size of a drawer, you cannot fit the car. So step one in influencing the outcomes that we desire is expansion. Expand into the size of a garage so that you may fit in the grace, the size of a car that God has in store for you and that your heart desires. Because, by the way, if you desire this wholeheartedly, it's probably because God put it in your heart. So it's not because you want so much and you're materialistic or whatever you're judging yourself as. So, number one, visualize, believe, build faith, see it, feel gratitude, just enjoy it already, right here, right now, even though you haven't seen it physically yet. That's step one. Step two, then you're guided by that inner wisdom to do the work step by step. Maybe God puts in your heart to go to an event and you meet the person that you needed to know that's going to help you take the next step. Or maybe you met an alum from the Faith-Based Coaching Academy and they told you all about this program and you're like, that's what I need in my life, because it probably is. I promise. I'm the answer to your prayer. I've been trying to tell you, but you're not listening. But it's okay. Whenever you're ready, I'm here. I don't plan on going anywhere. So maybe the thing that you're guided to that had nothing to do with you pursuing externally the outcome or trying to control it came to you. That's how you manifest it. I can give you an example of this. When I was writing my book, I hired a writing coach. And the first few sessions were she and I sitting down, processing my story and trying to extract what were the important little stories within the big story so that I could start writing. And I remember like processing a lot and I thought I had already healed a lot of my grieving. But when I started processing this book, a lot of it came back and some things that I hadn't healed yet unknowingly I became aware of. And at some point she was like, okay, your homework, she would always give me homework. Like, okay, just write down XY stories or come up with, different exercises to begin working, like physically working on the book. And then this one session, she's like, don't write anything this month. I'm like, what? You crazy? Like, I'm a go-getter. I make things happen. I take action. I need to write. Like, if I'm not writing, I'm not advancing, I thought. But I'm obedient. So I obeyed her too. And I'm like, against my will. And can I tell you that was the most productive month of my book writing ever? Because by not having the pressure of writing, I had time to be still. I had time to think. I had time to listen to audiobooks, to read, to process. It was a time of growth and learning and expansion. And with every book that I listened to or read, I had ideas burst in my mind, and I had, I don't know, like I was just so inspired by the space that I allowed myself or that she invited me to take. I grew. So I learned, that was the first time I really understood the power of doing nothing with intention. It's really not doing nothing, because when you're intentionally still, you're doing something, you're being still. You're allowing for God to take over your mind. You're letting go of your human limitations and your limiting beliefs to tap into infinite possibilities, divine wisdom. So that was that time for me. When you take that time to connect with God, to visualize the first step of this process, that's what happens. You are expanding, you are allowing, you are attracting, you are creating in your spirit first, so that then you can you can birth it into the physical reality. You don't always have to be hustle, 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 getting things done to advance. In fact, you just become more fatigued. Trust me, this is the story of my life. I've always been an action taker, and I just would overwhelm the heck out of myself and not get to the outcome that I worked so hard for. So step one, you're going to visualize, you're going to believe, you're going to build faith, you're going to do all the things. Step two, you're going to take those actions that you're guided to. So while in that energy, while connected to Papa Dios, to source, to the source of inspiration, of power, of all the things, while connected, then you take every step. Some of those steps are going to be unrelated to actions that are traditional to advancing. So, my step during that time of writing the book was to do nothing, to be still, to give the book a break and just allow myself to be inspired and to allow and to heal in the process. So step 2 is taking those steps that are guided. And then step 3 is to trust, I guess is how I can put it into words. When you're living a guided life and you're doing the work and while surrendering the outcome, you're going through these steps, you don't always get the outcomes as quick as you would want them to be revealed to you. And if you are like me, hello, I'm Betsy Guerra and I'm a recovering control freak. You are ready for things right now. And you let's do it. Let's do it right now. Like if you have a little bit of impulsivity or if you've been at it for a long time, you just naturally just want to see it, want to get to your destination. Let's get to Black Sand Beach already. But we got to go through the curves, and we may feel like going to the restroom, and that's a stop that we didn't anticipate, or we get hungry and that's another stop that we didn't anticipate. And life happens. And something that I've learned I'm doing this Reclaim Your Purpose app challenge that was built by someone I respect very much. In doing so, I learned that what feels like distractions or obstacles in the road are actually setting you up for success. Or like my dear friend and my kid's pediatrician recently said in a post, she was told that her setback was building her up for her comeback. I thought that was so beautiful. Those obstacles, quote unquote obstacles, and those distractions or those stops or those unexpected things that you're like, oh my gosh, like this is holding me back and it's not letting me advance at the speed that I would want to. Those are the very things that are building up your success. So, when your kids need so much from you and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to finish this because I have to Uber around town and I have to attend to all the kids' needs and I'm never going to get this work done. Those are the things that are building the meat, the content, the possibility. It's the setbacks for the comeback. Or as my friend in Reclaim Your Purpose app said, the obstacles are the way. They're not obstacles. They're not setbacks. They're not holding you back. They're propelling you forward. It's just different to what you had in mind. So it feels like an obstacle or a setback. It's not what you planned. That's why we surrender the outcomes and we just obey and we live a guided life step by step, step by step. So what would trust look like in this third phase is persevering regardless of the outcomes as they're showing up, right? An outcome is that there's no outcome yet. Or an outcome is that instead of getting closer, you seem to be getting further. Or instead of making money, you're actually going into the negative. Those are like the outcomes along the journey, along the way, while you get to the big outcome. So in the Road to Hannah journey that we're all in, we, those are the stops, those are the setbacks, the car that was stopped or the car that was slow in front of you or your kids needing to go to the bathroom or someone throwing up in the car. Like those are the little outcomes of the journey before you get to the final result, final destination or desired outcome, which is arriving at Black Sand Beach and enjoying a beach day, right? So those little outcomes, regardless of whether they're pointing in the right direction, feeling like a setback, delaying you, propelling you forward, if you could persevere through it, trusting and knowing and continuing to live and see and be grateful for that vision that you started off with, that's trust. That's trust. I live that. I know that. I've told you before, I'm the queen of failures. I've had them all. And continuing to persevere when things are going the opposite way to what you planned, and trusting that God is doing something great and so much better than you anticipated with that is hard and so beautiful. It's hard. And if you've if you've seen all my podcasts, you've heard me cry in one of those moments where I felt like, oh my goodness, like how much longer till I get what I quote unquote deserve or think I deserve? And you've also heard me entrust with a whole lot of peace and a whole lot of joy, regardless of the external circumstances. And I speak to you, my friend, from a very joyous, peaceful moment in my life when that podcast, I put it here in the image, that podcast that I don't remember what the number is and don't want to remember. Like, circumstances haven't changed much from then, except I'm joyful and peaceful because that I can control. And I understand that because the journey is so much more important than the destination, and the journey you take determines where you arrive. Like, if we think that we're going to get there regardless, if we take the, no, no, no. The path you take determines where you arrive, said Richard Rohr. The path you take determines where you arrive. So if I take a path of stress and overwhelm and I can't believe this and lack of gratitude and entitlement and frustration and discouragement, you know who's going to get a hold of me? The enemy. There's no room for the enemy in my life. Like he's gonna. I'm gonna become a vulnerable prey for him, and I don't want to live like that. So I don't want to live my life based on the outcomes that happen. I want to have the power to decide how I show up every day, regardless of whether it looks like I'm moving forward, backwards, or in the same place. And that's what grit is. That's the definition of grit. Grit is when you push forward, you keep going, regardless of whether things are going great, things are sucking, or everything's stagnant. And that's trust too. So trust is having grit when you're experiencing the journey, when you are taking those steps by steps in gratitude, and with the deeper knowing that the one guiding you is not your limited human ability, it's the indwelling God within you. It's the divine wisdom. It's the that inner knowing that will expose you to the stops and the obstacles and the setbacks that are going to get you exactly where God wants you to get to. Does that make sense? Okay, so I know that you cannot control the outcome, but we have established that we can definitely influence it and ultimately control what matters even more than the destination, which is the journey. If I would have never gotten to Black Sand Beach the day that I was on my road to Hana, I would have been okay. Because along the way, we stopped, we took family pictures, we were funny, we had fun, we hiked a little bit, we ate a delicious banana bread. I don't know, we connected as a family. Like, Black Sand Beach was awesome. It was beautiful and we had a great time, and the kids jumped off the cliff, and we dirtied our hands and feet with the black sand, and it was different and fun. But the journey, we had conversations in the car. We took beautiful pictures. I don't know, the journey was perfect. Will it have made a big difference to not go? I don't know. Because we certainly took advantage of the journey. But I'd like to believe that you will always arrive at a destination. And many times that destination is better than Black Sand Beach. I promise you. There's been so many times that I have planned something in a certain way and I arrive at a totally different location, and it's so much more magical. because the path you take, the way you show up in your journey, determines where you arrive. So maybe it's a white sand beach that you're supposed to go to, and it's a lot prettier than the black sand beach. I don't know. You get to trust. So, step one, my friend, you're going to expand your capacity by visualizing the outcome, by seeing it, feeling gratitude for it, like believing it, and building the faith that it's already yours. And just thank God from the bottom of your heart for that which He's working towards to manifest into your physical realities. Just believe it, expand your mindset, expand your capacity to fit in the big graces God has in store for you so that you can hold them, so that you can fit them in. And then from that energy, you're going to be connected and take inspired actions. So, step two is to do the thing that you're guided to by that indwelling God that lives inside of you. And for that, you have to stay connected. You have to stay connected so you can listen. What is God calling you to do? And maybe some of those things have nothing to do with the outcome you're looking for, but they're going to take you to the space, to the person, to the opportunity that is going to lead you in the right direction. And lastly, trust. You get to trust. Believe, trust, have faith. Know that even if things are not coming soon enough, they're coming and they're so much better than you can anticipate. So stay in trust, stay in faith, stay in surrender, knowing that God's got you. Because you, my friend, were willfully and mindfully created to God's image and likeness, and He adores you. He adores you. He's not going to forget about you. So if you remain in trust, it's just a matter of time, and success is inevitable. So whether you're the kind of person who gets stuck in thinking energy, or you're impulsive and you make things happen immediately, or you be still first and then you take action, like regardless of what kind of person you are, you have no power over the outcomes, over the destination. But you do, my friend, have the possibility of influencing the journey that will lead you to the destination that you were created for. So I invite you to reflect on this and think about something that you've been wanting to execute on, or something that you've been dying to manifest or experience in your life that it's been long overdue. And take these 3 steps. Just spend some time visualizing yourself already there and just believing that it's yours. And then take guided actions. And those obstacles or setbacks, remember they're preparing you for the comeback. They're supporting you, they're building you up. You have no idea what those things that you think are holding you back are doing to propel you forward. And lastly, remain in trust. Trust is what's going to keep you going. It's hard. Life is hard sometimes and it's very discouraging. But believe and continue and trust God's got you, my friend. I promise. I hope this supported you. Please, please, please share with someone who needs to hear this and join me next week. I love you. Bye.